or something. Saturday night.
So what do you think, guys?
No.
Well, you say no, but wait a minute. Surely it's my prerogative because I'm the one who's got you these tickets.
But you know what happened to me last time I went in a tent? I left the morning, Friday morning of Glastonbury. I was on site for 8 hours. I didn't see any bands. I was too traumatised by the whole experience. I almost died.
That's the reason I want you to go in a tent again.
I've never met anyone, Steve, who enjoys pitting their friends against each other and against the world as much as you do. I just imagine you as a child wandering around with the bath mat over your shoulders as some sort of cape, with some strange kind of crown and judge's gavel, just making Mummy and Daddy do things.
Well, I had to make those, Ruth, because I wasn't born already wearing those things in my ivory tower.
Back to that.
But actually, it's really, you should mention that, because you know, was it last week or the week before I mentioned how I've always been trying to persuade Dan, who Tiny Dan is, of course, my housemate, and I've always wanted some kind of giant neon countdown with his rent on it, and it slowly ticks down, and obviously I take off certain amounts depending on if he'll, you know, dance to whatever tune that I make him dance to.
Yeah.
And quite literally today we were in a coffee shop, high street coffee shop, and Dan gave me some money to buy his drink for him, but he was 45p short.
I was a little bit short for once, yeah.
Dan, what did I make you do to wipe away that 45p debt?
Steve, you made me dance to the jaunty music that was playing in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
In order to wipe away the 45 pence.
It was a kind of one of those kind of noodly jazz tunes you always get in those coffee places.
You said dance.
I said dance, and he was there in his shorts.
The only thing more shameful than you asking me was the fact that I did it.
Yeah, he did.
I've got no
instantly
sense of self-worth.
Without a moment's hesitation, he danced 45p, wiped away.
Yeah, but I must admit, it made me think slightly more fondly of the whole idea of the cashometer. Sure. Making me do things for money, basically, you know, dignity out the window, but I'll have a few more quid in my pocket, maybe it's worth it.
Well,
I'm coming round to your way of thinking. I normally agree with Rufus, by the way, that you're a terrible bully to all your friends, but with the Glastonbury idea, I quite like it. I think you should go for it, yeah. Oh, I'm not going, but never mind, yeah, I'd have done it.
Any ideas down on further things perhaps we could make these guys do? I mean, I'd like getting a ticket, which is, you cannot get them, guys, for love nor money.
No, I'd like Harry to, I don't know if they'll get a chance to sort of meet bands or interview them, but I'd like Harry to just break down in tears at the memory of 2005, Glasgow 05, and just start sobbing uncontrollably.
As long as I don't end up wallowing in my own waste again this year, I'll be happy.
And I'd quite like Rufus to acquire a young slave boy.
Alongside the three he's already taken with him.
Yes.
I'm wondering if Steve thought it might be funny if he took away all our credentials and then denied all knowledge of us when we got stuck behind some big burly bouncer not letting us get to the you know, the setup for the archive broadcast, and you're just like, so I don't know who these guys are. Harry and I just like, please, Steve, can we please.
There is so many opportunities, Rufus. Thank you for giving me
That's right, that's another one.
Sammy, do you have any thoughts on how I might find interesting formats and devices for the radio with these boys?
I quite like the idea of no money, no means of money, and 1 tin of beans for the whole 3 days.
Yeah, good.
And then you've got to kind of like argue who gets it. No chairs. That's quite bad at Glastonbury. Or maybe just one. I have a feeling that... I think because you're so posh, you'd probably be... No, go on, you can have it.
I have a shooting stick, but I'll be constantly offering it to ladies.
Shooting stick. Okay, well, let's move on from Glasgow. We'll come back to this. You know, we've got a little bit of time to decide exactly what we can do for these boys before we actually go down there. Each week, of course, I like to delve into the pigeonhole. Various people come by and they drop off new releases, new albums and so on. I dig a few out and we run them past you, the listeners' ears and the ears of those people here in the studio. And first up this week is new single from Ash. Their forthcoming album, Twilight of the Innocents, that's the new single from Ash, released June 18th. It's called Polaris. Dan, if you added the letter E to the word Polaris, what word would you get?
Polarise.
Right. Is that new Ash single going to polarise opinion here in the studio?
I'm not sure it will, because it felt kind of middle of the road to me. Ash are a band who I didn't like when they first started. I didn't like the fact they were ever so slightly younger than me, because I was probably about 18 when they first hit the scene. And over time, I've actually realised that was a mistake, because I look back on their work. If they got greatest hits out, I might snap it up, because in retrospect, I quite like them. But a bit plodding, I thought, that one. Just a little bit plodding.
Harry, as Dan says, Ash have got, you know, really quite a collection of cracking singles now. I'm sure if you saw them live or perhaps at a festival, you know, they'll belt them out one after another and, you know, they're anthemic. Will that one be added to the list?
I don't think it will be. See, unlike Dan, I did like Ash when they came out, and if you remember back, those kind of fizzing, punky 3-minute tunes that they came out with, that did a job, but not a job that I'd want done for me.
Rufus, in a post-Coldplay world, do you feel that they're very deliberately writing stadium-filling rock tunes now? I thought that was quite an
Your
elegant
questions are so much better than our answers. That's the problem. We just need to say yes at the end of you talking for a bit. Yeah, I agree with both the boys. I find it a bit anodyne. I like the piano riff, but otherwise I found it a little bit dull.
Sammy, are you going to change your opinion?
Not at all. I thought it was incredibly middle of the road, save for the small section of military-esque drumming, which I quite enjoy.
You do like a bit of drumming, don't you?
I do. My dad's a drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you are, you see.
It's bred into me.
Instant email feedback, Steve, from Tobias. Oh my god, this Ash track is the worst kind of pompous derivative drivel.
Okay. So maybe
Davo's gone mad.
Should we open this up to the listeners? 64046 stephen.6music@bbc.co.uk if you have opinions on the tunes you hear. Another idea I've stolen from the Steve Lamacq round table. All the good ideas are there to be taken, people. Dan, when you think of hip-hop, you're a fan of hip-hop. When you think of it, what city do you think of?
Oh, New York, maybe LA.
Dublin, absolutely right. Straight out of Ireland, here come Messiah J and the Expert. They've got a new track called Something Out of Nothing. Here it is. Straight out of Dublin, that's Messiah J and the Expert. And the single is called Something Out of Nothing. It's released June the 4th. Dan, I was mentioning hip-hop before because I know you're a hip-hop aficionado. What do you make of it?
I loved it, yeah. Really
They
loved
make
it.
something out of nothing.
Yes, it's got the sound, they've nailed a Dan sound. Got the big old drums, a bit of female vocals in there. I found it to be both naughty and badass.
Really? Are those important things that you look
They
for in
are, yeah,
music?
very much so, yeah.
Two words, of course, that no one would ever associate with you.
No, and the way I said it wasn't particularly street either. I accept that,
Was it?
possibly opening myself to ridicule, but definitely a big Danny thumbs up.
Rufus, we've seen you in the past dancing along to a hip-hop tune or two. What do you make of it?
I loved it. I love the fact that even though a lot of hip-hop samples music from the 70s and 80s, why not sample music from the 20s? Why not get a high clarinet riff and sample that? I know Jurassic 5 used Gene Krupa drum track on one of theirs, and I used to love that. And I think it was just wonderful. Really, really enjoyed it.
I can imagine you with your spats on.
I thought it might come
Just
back to
dancing at some hip-hop club with that. Sammy, there's always a worry, particularly with sort of UK hip-hop or hip-hop that doesn't come out of America, that it lapses into the novelty. Did you have that fear about that track?
I didn't think it was... A novel isn't... You can't use it in that sense. I don't know. I really, really enjoyed that. I think they're really showing them how to do it the right way. And I couldn't detect an Irish accent. I think that might have made the track even better. It reminded me of Mr. Scruff's Mushroom Jazz, which is a brilliant track as well. But no, I danced. I got my boogie on again there. The rhythm entered.
The rhythm entered. I'd never heard that phrase before. It sounds faintly rude. And Harry, finally, you've always had a penchant, particularly for old school hip hop. Did it compare?
I enjoyed it. I didn't really keep up with it lyrically, but the thing is, it was very effective as a thing, a sound that came at you, and my worry would be the production was really good, musically it was great, but what was the rap like, if they just become known for that sound, then how long would that last? But I did like their two comparisons for making something out of nothing. One was Jesus making a feast out of fishes and bread rolls, and the other one is making a Halloween costume out of Granny's bedclothes. Yeah, which two damn good examples.
We have to go to a trial, but after that we got the new single from the Chemical Brothers. Chemical Brothers are back. Their new album, We Are the Night, is out on the 2nd of July, and that's the first single from it, Do It Again, which is out on the 4th of June. Harry, have the Chemical Brothers done it again?
Indeed, they have doed it again. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Again, you think of Chemical Brothers, for me, it's a lot more fast-paced stuff than that, and I'm not sure how that would go down in a field in Glastonbury. All right. But it was enjoyable, and I enjoyed it because it was so enjoyable.
Dan, I'm beginning to think that maybe the Chemical Brothers get better and better as they get older. What are your thoughts?
I think they've added to their sound, because I got quite a lot of their early stuff, and it's sort of energetic and it gives you a rush, but it's kind of one note. But that's slightly more low key. It's got a really infectious kind of do-do-do that is going to play in your brain. It's the sort of thing that if it was on the pod as you walk down the street, it would definitely make you feel about 20 to 25% cooler than you actually are.
Yes.
And I like that. I do like that in a song. I just wonder, would I get bored of it over time? Maybe. But I do like it right now. Right now, I like it.
I've got a Waitrose playlist. Obviously, I shop in only the high-class supermarkets, and what I do is I put it on there, and I start off with LL Cool J. Mama said, "Knock you out." It makes you feel super cool as you're wandering around with your basket in the
Does it make you feel
organic
violent?
section. It doesn't make you feel violent particularly. You know, I might take it out on a large melon if I'm feeling particularly furious. I've got a bit of pent-up aggression. But yeah, it's good to have tracks that sit well when you're wandering around the supermarket. Roof, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I started throwing some shapes, but then I threw exactly 6 shapes, and then I stopped abruptly because I realised that I wasn't enjoying it anymore.
My favourite was shape 4.
Was it? Dan, yours?
Oh, 3 for
three.
me every time.
I simply got to 6, and then nah. Bored.
Really?
Don't like it.
You've slammed.
Yeah, I'm slamming
Goodness.
it. Don't like it very
He's
much.
gone mad.
It was almost a bit flat Eric.
It was a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Mr. Wazoo? Was that the
Yeah.
Was that the
Yeah.
guy that did the track? Mr. Wazoo? It actually put me in mind of that recent Justin Timberlake single. One of the first tracks from his Sexy Back. It actually put me in mind of that. And Sammy, what did you make of it?
I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry, Rufus. I know we're sitting quite close, but I did quite enjoy it. I can see myself in summer blasting that out the bedroom window on small speakers on the trampoline / swinging some poi.
Swinging some what?
Poi. P-O-I.
What's
yeah.
that?
Do you not? Oh, the pleasures of poi.
Is that the Maori thing?
They're kind of like beanbags on the end of strings, and you can do that, and you can do figure of 8.
No, we're on the radio, we're on the radio.
I know I said I can do that, and then I thought I'd expand that to a figure of 8 because people can't see my hands.
And I don't quite see what the pleasure is.
I just like a kind of hippie chilling out thing, although my mum tried it yesterday and pulled a muscle. So maybe they're not for the elderly. I'm so sorry, Mum, I love you. Not for the older generation, but they're really good fun. But to listen to kind of cool type dance music and chill
So what
out.
you're thinking is maybe you're driving through a council estate come summertime, you know, and there's you know you're driving hurriedly through for fear of having to stop the car, and you know there's a lot of kind of tower blocks, and then you can just hear a tinny sound up in one of the windows. You think it might be the Chems? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
No, okay, all right. As long, I just wanted to clarify that. Any feedback from the plebs? From the listeners. Sorry, the listeners. My fault.
Peter both liked Ash, so a bit of right reply from Ash fans there. Trev said Irish hip hop. He hated it, but then he hates all hip hop. So you know, I'm guessing it's not for him. Mike says Ash was fairly mundane and generic, but he's sure it'll make it onto now 150 or whatever number they're on.
Is it
by
that?
now.
I wonder what number it's at now.
68.
68 now, 68. Okay, well, thank you very much indeed for your opinions. Do you know what? Give yourself a little round of applause in the Steve Wright style as we hear the band. Is there any other radio show on any other radio station that will follow up the Chemical Brothers with the band from 1969 and Rag Mama Rag? I don't think there is, and that's what makes us special. And it's also what makes us one of the, am I right in saying one of the most downloaded shows on Six Music now?
Currently
Or the Listen
most
Again.
Downloaded. Oh,
The most listened again shows. Jude, you have all the stats, don't you?
Yes.
Just off the top of your brain, what are the stats?
54,642 listen agains last month.
It's apparently that's quite good for
Better
Six
than
Music.
Bob.
Better than Bob Dylan. I am officially better than Bob Dylan, and that's come from the top brass. Each week, of course, I like to get a listener on the line, someone who is out there just listening in listener land, but obviously has music taste. And you can contribute to the show. You can get in touch via the website if you have songs that you'd like to hear on the show. But we are speaking this week to... Is it Dave?
It is, yeah.
Hello, Dave. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Newcastle under Lyme in Staff.
Okay, Newcastle under Lyme. Sure,
Yes.
sure. Let's get some important information from you. What's your age?
I'm 44.
44,
Yes.
okay, good, respectable age, because we've had a lot of students in the past, so it's nice to have perhaps not an elderly listener. And, well, I'm afraid to say that in this modern world, you know, this modern world of kind of age fascism, that is getting on a bit.
It is, yeah.
And,
absolutely.
Dave, what do you do?
I'm self-employed.
Okay, what do you do? Is it an interesting job? Do you work from home?
No, I don't work from home. I've got a business, mail order business, giftware.
A mail order business, okay. And is this something you've set up yourself?
No, it's a family business. We started in 1979.
Oh, really? Wow. And is there a particular reason? Because I'm always intrigued to know why people set up particular businesses. They go in, you know, you could choose theoretically anything, and you've gone into, what did you say, giftware?
Yeah, sure.
And is there a particular reason for that? Was it something that your family made? Did they go around making kind of...
Yeah, my dad was in the business for a long time, and